Brandon Bix asking this. The Celtics are streaking. What's allowed them to play better, and can they make a run? Few things here, Brandon. So Kemba Walker has started to play really well. Jayson Tatum has looked like an MVP player over the last couple of weeks and has just upped his aggressiveness. And also, the Boston Celtics combined as a team, Brandon, have missed more than 140 games because of COVID protocols. Think about that. In a sport that looks on TV like poetry in motion, and when you watch it in person, looks like poetry in motion, you need some form of consistency, continuity. The Celtics have not been able to have any form of continuity this season at all, and they've missed more than 140 combined games because of COVID. Now that they're starting to get healthier, you're seeing a more consistent team right now. So if you think the Celtics are dangerous, hey, get into the comments and let me know. Omega S, appreciate the $4 super chat. You're the man, and if we can get me a beer, I'm going to drink to that super chat. I'm also going to take a sip of water right now because, hey, I appreciate Omega for the $4 super chat. Got a little lemon water. Got to stay hydrated. You know what I mean? Omega, where is the video about the Chiefs-Ravens trade? Well, I'm looking at Harrison Graham right now, and he just went live about an hour ago on our Kansas City Chiefs channel. That's a Kansas City Chiefs report. So he has you covered on that big Orlando Brown trade. And hey, it looks like you're an NFL fan, Omega. Appreciate you rocking with us, checking out some NBA Now content as well. But go on to the Chiefs report by Chat Sports, and Harrison Graham did a great job of breaking that trade down. He went live minutes after that trade was announced. Blinky Yee, what can you see the Raptors doing in free agency, like get a center? I think center is certainly in play. I think the big question with the Raptors, are they going to bring back Kyle Lowry after not getting any assets back for him leading up to the NBA trade deadline? I really like the acquisition of Gary Trent. I think they won that trade with the Portland Trailblazers, bringing him in to replace and kind of be a better, cheaper, younger option than Norman Powell. So that's the big question for me. Could they go after a center? Yes. But also, they have to decide if they're going to rebuild, Blinky. Are you going to rebuild? Because if so, it doesn't make sense to bring back Kyle Lowry. Next question coming in from P2 Win. Do you think Trent Jr. is a true star level in him? I think I know what you're trying to ask there. Do you think Gary Trent Jr. has star potential? Star potential? I'm not sure about star potential. But this is what I like when I see Gary Trent. He can knock down shots from the outside at a consistent rate. He can get to the basket. He can kind of score from all three levels. He can defend. He's very competitive. We know that he has a great pedigree because his pops played in the league as well. And he's only 22 years old. So Norman Powell, he's going to be a restricted free agent this year. He's probably going to demand a lot of money. Gary Trent Jr., I think he's the better player. I think he's the better value. Star potential, I'm not sure about star potential yet, but as a third or fourth option on a contending team, I really like him. Appreciate that question. Nathanella Sabell Blake, which teams do you think might win the NBA Finals? Lakers if they're healthy. Sixers possibly. Brooklyn Nets, even though it would be one of the most fascinating stories of all time, because that trio of Harden, KD, and Kyrie will enter the playoffs most likely only having played 7 games together. Could you see a team like the Boston Celtics surprise a lot of people? Possibly. The Milwaukee Bucks, are they going to find postseason success? They've been playing much better of late. Could the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray do it? I don't think so. Los Angeles Clippers, I like them because they've been playing a lot better. So my leaders in the clubhouse right now, I'd go Sixers, Nets, Lakers, Jazz, Suns, and Clippers. Those 6 teams are teams that I think can win the NBA Finals. From Supreme Lord 305, you are supreme. Does Boston sign Isaiah Thomas with their last roster spot? I think the days of Isaiah Thomas in Boston are gone, but I will tell you this, Supreme Lord. We were talking about Isaiah Thomas the other day because his 10-day contract with the New Orleans Pelicans had expired, and we looked at his numbers from when he was a borderline MVP player a couple of years ago, And Isaiah Thomas, when he was balling out for the Celtics, was like ridiculous a couple of years ago. I'm trying to bring up his numbers because he was absurd. Like one of the best single seasons in recent basketball history because of his size. So 2016-17 with Boston, Isaiah Thomas, Supreme Lord, averaged 28.9 points per game on 46% shooting and almost 38% from three. And for a guy to do that at 5'9" in the current NBA, really impressive. But again, that was 2016-17, okay? Boston, they don't need him right now. Laker Rod, would you take any other player playing over LeBron if you were competing for a title this year? I would not. And I understand that LeBron James is 36 years old right now, but I want to put up my list of top 10 players in the NBA right now because LeBron James is still atop my list. He is a bionic man. He rarely, if ever, gets injured. I think that injury from Solomon Thomas was more bad luck than it was injury concerns and him getting older. I think when it comes to the playoffs, he's still the most clutch player, the most consistent, the most championship ready. And I think LeBron James is the second best player of all time behind Michael Jordan. And currently in the NBA, I would take him number one over any player in the NBA, ahead of Kevin Durant, ahead of Steph Curry, ahead of Kawhi Leonard, and ahead of James Harden. So LeBron, my number one player in the league right now. And I think that if the Lakers are healthy, they're going to make a run at an NBA title this year. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to Chat Sports, what are you doing? Seriously. We here at Chat Sports, we grind and we hustle and we pump out nonstop content, especially focusing on the NBA. But the Chiefs just made a big trade to bring in left tackle Orlando Brown. My man Harrison Graham was live like a couple of minutes later. All of those are reasons to subscribe to Chat Sports. Go to youtube.com/chatsportstv and subscribe now. The content is endless. The content is the best. We hit you with the hard-hitting analysis, but we also like to have fun here as well. And the great part about what we do, interactive YouTube channel. So all of you, like you're doing right now, you can join the show and take part in the action as well. This question coming in from Salo PvP Dog. Booker or Mitchell? That's an awesome question. Awesome question because both of these players are trending upwards right now. And Booker out of Kentucky, Mitchell out of Louisville, they weren't like first, second picks in the NBA draft. Like people slept on these guys and nobody expected them to be superstar players like they have turned into and developed over time. Now, part of that is them just unleashing from the college game, but also they deserve credit too because they have developed their games immensely. And you know what that takes? A lot of hard work. Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, two of the best young scorers in the league right now. If I were to start my franchise with one, I would edge with Devin Booker. But Donovan Mitchell, he's already had more postseason success. So edging with Booker, but Mitchell is right there. Salo PvP Dog, that's a phenomenal question. Appreciate that. Raindrop Hot asking this. Who will be the rookie of the year? Before LaMelo Ball, the Charlotte Hornets, got injured, I thought it was going to be him, and I thought he was going to win in a landslide. Now, I lean Anthony Edwards. Now, LaMelo Ball has been cleared to return and ramp up his basketball activities from that wrist injury that he suffered. I don't think he's going to come back in time to win the Rookie of the Year, so I'm going to go Anthony Edwards. The most impressive rookie, in my opinion, in the NBA. He won't win the award. It's been Tyrese Halliburton of the Sacramento Kings. Marcus, last week you guys said you'd take Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, that quartet, over LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and Ray Allen. How about that Warriors team against Michael Jordan, the GOAT, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, etc., which of course includes one of the best coaches, if not the best coach of all time, in Phil Jackson. So, Marcus, I think I would edge and go with the Chicago Bulls, but I think you want to focus on the style of play here because the run and gun style that the Warriors really made popular and other teams across the NBA have tried to implement was a totally different physical style than the Chicago Bulls were used to in the early to mid 90s. Like, The Bulls didn't face any team that was run and gun, chuck up three-pointers while still playing great defense because Klay Thompson and Draymond Green were two of the best defenders in the entire league. Is KD going to be able to lock down Michael Jordan? I think Michael Jordan would get his. I think Steph Curry would be able to get buckets too. Draymond Green would be an interesting defensive matchup as well as Klay Thompson because both of those guys are defensively really savvy. But it's Michael Jordan that we're talking about. And Scottie Pippen is a Hall of Famer. Dennis Rodman is a Hall of Famer as well. Steve Kerr off the bench hitting tray balls? Great. Phil Jackson pushing all the right buttons against one of his former players in Steve Kerr, which would be fascinating. Hey, it is a great conversation. Let me edge and not disrespect Michael Jordan because we saw in The Last Dance last summer, when people disrespect Michael Jordan's, you got ghosts haunting you and following you. I don't want that to happen to me. Clowney is a brownie. Creative name there. I'm guessing that Jadeveon Clowney likes brownies. He's still cut, though. While rebuilding a team, who do you want, Devin Booker or Jayson Tatum? I'll go Jayson Tatum. I think you win NBA championships nowadays and throughout NBA history with a wing. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird. Wings traditionally have won you titles. Devin Booker, more of a guard. Now I understand. Steph Curry, he has 3 titles. He has 2 MVPs. Might win a scoring title this year. He's a human highlight reel. Devin Booker, he's like that as well. But I think Tatum, because he's a little bit of a better defender, and I like his well-rounded game as far as a player I would want to rebuild with. Shamar Bassett, if the Mavericks get to the 5 seed, is Luka top 3 for MVP? I don't think so. Now, coming out of the NBA All-Star break, if you would ask me this question, Shamar, I would probably say yes, but I don't think so right now. Luka has been great, and when you look at his numbers across the board, he's been absolutely phenomenal. But I don't think he's in that MVP conversation. I think other players are more deserving, like Jokic, like Embiid, like Curry. So I'd go with those guys rather than Luka, but good question. Rogue Brothers, are the Clippers slept on for the playoffs? The Clippers get a lot of national hype. So I don't know if they are slept on. I think a lot of people are just looking at the Clippers and saying they have never had any NBA playoff success at all. They have never won an NBA championship. When it comes to Los Angeles, they've been dominating because they share a building with the same team that's won an NBA tied record, 17 NBA championships. So I don't think people are sleeping on the Clippers. I think people are just like, hey, we've been talking about the Clippers last year and in previous years when they were the really exciting team with like CP3, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and JJ Redick, but they've just never gotten it done in the NBA playoffs. So I think people just kind of have that vantage point of, I'll believe it when I see it with the Clips. P2 Win, another question. Appreciate you for watching this entire time. Is Kawhi Leonard leaving the Clippers at the end of his contract, or will he re-sign? I think Kawhi Leonard returns. The only scenario I see in which Kawhi Leonard leaves the Clippers is if they go out in the first round. And here's a sneaky thing to look out for. If the Clippers get the number 3 seed and the Lakers drop to the 6 seed, a first-round playoff series between the Clippers and the Lakers could be electric. And who would I take in that matchup if the Lakers are 100% healthy? I take the Lakers because I think they match up better. So if the Clippers go out in the first round, maybe Kawhi leaves, but I don't see him leaving. He is going to opt out, though, and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Kawhi is leaving. The only reason he's going to opt out of that contract is so that he secures the bag. Timberwolf Taylor 13. Who are the best lottery team fits for each prospect? Cade Cunningham to the Timberwolves is going to be a good pick. Let's see. I like Cade Cunningham to the Timberwolves. I think Jalen Suggs really going anywhere is going to be a great pickup. If he goes to the Houston Rockets, I think that allows the Rockets to start to rebuild a little bit. And I love the diversity to Cade Cunningham's game, but also Jalen Suggs. I think either of those players, whether one goes 1 or 2, they're going to be a great building block for the Timberwolves or the Houston Rockets. So look out for that. Last question coming in from Rogue Brothers. Who is the best coach, Phil Jackson or Greg Popovich? Whew. Let me go Phil Jackson with the slight edge on Pop, but I don't know. I mean, both have been very influential throughout the course of NBA history because they've done so much, implemented so much, they've established cultures, and really have had to manage like superstar groups. Phil Jackson with the Lakers and the Bulls, though, all of those combined championships, he was able to step in Chicago and help Michael Jordan get over the hump and win that first NBA title and win 6 of them. And then the Lakers were in an awful spot before Phil Jackson took that job, and what do you know? He goes there and they win more rings. So give me Phil Jackson, but Rogue Brothers, yo, that's a good one.